Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comic Cave podcast with myself and Tanner. On this podcast, we will talk about superheroes and other superhero related topics like movies, TV shows, etc. Still, today we will do a brief overview of comic history after Tanner introduces himself.
Hello, I'm Tanner, and I'm the smart one. Um, yeah, I know more about superheroes than him. And history comics. I guess you can say it was just little strips and magazines first, like Peanuts or Archie, well not Archie, Dennis the Menace, Calvin and Hobbes, and then two boys, two Jewish boys named Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. Um, and they had an idea. Um, Superman. And so they went to multiple companies. They all rejected them. And then they went to a company known as National Comics. Um, you know it as DC Comics because that's what they changed their name to. And so in 1938, they launched Action Comics issue 1, starting the golden age of comics, which kind of started um, revolution and started more superheroes and comics. And then 1939, Detective Comics issue 27 had Batman. And then 1940, Captain America. And then something happened. World War II. World War II started in 1939, ended in 1945. Really golden age. And it boosted the superhero medium because, World War II fighting, it made sense for superheroes. So the JSA, Captain America, um, all these characters were fighting Nazis or um, Japanese, gruesome making it super evil. And so, yeah. Thoughts?
Um, yeah, that's actually a pretty good explanation, I'd say. Um, for people who don't, I'm sure there's not many, but for people who don't exactly know what a comic book is, or what you could consider a comic book, like instead of calling a graphic novel. Would you like to explain like the difference between that?
Graphic novel is a fancy way to say comic book, basically. But graphic novel, you would use it to do more fancier comments, not like the Bam Pow comments, like Comic Trippy or superheroes.
Like,
Basic.
uh, well, let's see, a graphic novel. Like one graphic novel I have is uh, The Dark Knight Returns.
Well, that can be considered a graphic novel.
Yeah, I'm just saying
So
on
could
it
any
on it it says
any
graphic novel.
comic, but a graphic, like you would use the term comic, but more with Superman or Batman rather than Mouse. And yeah, but like I said, comic books is basically comics because they were meant to be funny, little strips in newspapers, and then it just turned into a whole medium. And so, Golden Age heroes: Batman, Robin, Wonder Woman, Flash, Jay Garrick, Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Dr. Fate, Adam, Hawkman, Green Arrow, um, Human Torch, the original one, Namor. And so, one thing I'd like to say is Fawcett Comics had a character named Captain Marvel, which when Billy Batson would say Shazam, he turned into Captain Marvel. and he looked very similar to Superman, and so there's a huge lawsuit that happened. And basically, that lawsuit went on until about the end of the Golden Age. I'll talk about what happened then. And then Fawcett Comics kind of died, and in the 60s, they started licensing it to DC, well, National, and then in the 90s, they fully bought Captain Marvel, but they lost the naming right, so they had to name Shazam. And so the Golden Age went on, and so in 1945, when the war ended, it kind of fell down. And so, skip to 1953, something big happens. A book called Protection of the Innocent by Frederick Wertham came out and basically said comic books were bad, and they were talking more about the horror, crime stuff, and said it was too inappropriate and bad for children because it had juvenile delinquency, which all of it was, most of it was made up. And he even went a rant on superheroes. He said Superman was un-American and Batman and Robin were gay for each other. And yeah, all made up. And so that started something called the Comics Code Authority. And you had to get approved by this comet stamp. If you've seen in the Spider-Verse movies, it has it at the beginning of the movie. And it's not really in use anymore. And so that kind of really died down comics. And then 1956, the Silver Age started with Showcase issue 4 starring Barry Allen as the Flash. And so eventually more heroes such as the new Green Lantern, and they would kind of revise these Golden Age heroes to be new heroes or even return them like Captain America. So the JLA, and then what happened, and then 1961, the Fantastic Four would first appear, starting a huge revolution in Marvel, which made characters such as Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Avengers, a lot of the known ones, basically. And yeah, and that kind of became a huge momentum, and yeah. Thoughts, Micah? Huh?
I think you said it all.
Yeah. Shall I move on with
With the what?
the Bronze Age?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say turn of the decade, 1970s, started the Bronze Age. It's characterized as having more darker and taking these Silver Age characters and turning them dark. One example is Spider-Man with 121 and 122, which had the death of Gwen Stacy and Green Goblin. You're killing off Spider-Man's love interest. And another one, which I just remembered, was the 1970 Green Lantern and actually 1971 Green Lantern Green Arrow issue where Roy Harper gets addicted to drugs and became a huge scandal. And Spider-Man also did it with Harry Osborn, but the Harry Osborn one was done by the U.S. Health and Health Safety thing, and so they had to. And then the Comics Code Authority got mad at them, and yeah, while the Green Lantern Green Arrow was just done, and they also got mad at them, but it's just Roy Harper, Speedy getting addicted to drugs, and the cover was Green Arrow and Green Lantern, and Green Arrow's just full mouth open at Roy, and it's called Snowbirds Don't Fly. And then the second issue had More Deadlier Than an Atom Bomb. And there's also the comic story Thor starting to loosen up with the stuff, the restrictions. There you go. There's the word. And so like werewolves, monsters, and stuff would come, and yeah, and then the modern age, or well, you can call it anything now. So, oh wait, the Bronze Age. I forgot to mention one thing. Characters would be like Wolverine, and a new story that was influential and kind of revolutionized DC. One of the highest selling in the 80s was New Teen Titans, which very successful. And now on to the modern age. Do you have any questions about the Bronze?
No. Yeah, no, sorry.
Okay, modern age. Now we'll be getting into where Dark Knight Returns comes in, and Frank Miller and Alan Moore. So it can be called the Dark Age to some people. Some people refer to as Copper Age and then the Modern Age. But Modern Age is usually just represented as 1985 or 1986 till now, which I like to say 1985 to 2000 is like Dark or Copper Age, and then 2000 to now basically is Modern Age. And so 1986, two stories, Watchmen, which was DC's Comics, which started Vertigo. They were like publishing that wasn't superheroes basically, and so it was like really dark and different. And then Dark Knight Returns, 4-issue comic miniseries, and had Batman, and it was an older Batman who returns, and pretty famous. And it actually, when it first came out, it was so successful it had 4 different reprints, and that actually gave enough popularity to get the '89 movie. And so that was by Frank Miller, and Watchmen was by Alan Moore. And another thing that happened was Crisis on Infinite Earths, which, well, that was 1985, which kind of, the DC multiverse was kind of confusing, and so they just decided to put it in one at the death of, I think it was, I know the Flash, and I forgot who else, I think it was Supergirl. And so Barry Allen would die in sacrifice, becoming the lightning bolt that struck him. And Wally West, his sidekick, would take up the mantle, and that wouldn't really do anything until Jeff Johns. And so, and then also during that time, new publishers would happen, like Milestone, Image, with Milestone being the more black superheroes with Static, Icon, yeah, and then they had, but they put them in the DC universe, and then comic creator known as Todd McFarlane came along, who had created Spawn, I think, and Spawn would be successful, and Todd McFarlane would also work on Spider-Man, and he would create the character Venom, turning that symbiote, which actually another story that came out a few years in 1987 was Kraven's Last Hunt, which would kill off Kraven the Hunter in a dark way that we would probably get banned for saying. And so yeah, Um, 2000s Jeff Johns with DC. That kind of he took the Flash, um, the JSA, and Green Lantern and changed them. And then in 2000s Marvel did the Ultimate Universe where with the X-Men movie coming out in 2000 they would rebrand all the comics into a new universe where they could change things. They still kept the 616, which is the main universe, but they made a new universe, 1610 for the Ultimate, and they changed a few things. And um, I personally like the Spider-Man, and eventually it ended, but what came out of it was Miles Morales. And so in 2011, well, actually, let's start with this. 2009, the Flash comes back after revealing he was hidden in the Speed Force. And so they would both be the Flash, Wally and Barry, and then Barry wanted to go back in time to save his mother, which he did in Flashpoint, which then started the New 52 in 2011. So that kind of revolutionized, like, it was a reboot of DC. And then, well, 2015 they did Secret Wars, which kind of ended off the Fantastic Four in a way. Marvel, kind of like a sequel to the 1984 Secret Wars, which was just a huge crossover. So yeah, that's about it.
It's a good job. I want to talk about more personal stuff, so maybe people can maybe relate to you more. Uh, how
How could
did you?
anyone
Hmm?
how could anyone relate to me knowing all this?
Okay, buddy. How did you get started, like reading comic books or other media?
Um, to be honest, when I was younger, I watched the movies, and so only about a few years ago, I started reading the comics just to get more into the characters because I realized how much they were meaning to me, and so now, and then about a year or two ago, I started watching these documentaries about them and went to all the history. So I kind of did most of this from memory.
Nice. And um, who is your favorite comic character?
Spider-Man. Um, yeah,
Why is he your favorite comic character?
I think it's pretty understandable. Um, he's a lot of people's favorites. I mean, other than Batman, Superman, he's just relatable. He, I think that's really one of the biggest things, and he definitely shows heroicness at all times, and even when bad things happen to him, Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, George Stacy, who else? Harry, on drugs, everything in his life. He still gets a way to get back up, which is in the Into the Spider Verse. Your Spider Man always get up. Who's your favorite hero?
Right now probably Batman, just because Batman's cool. I don't know. Uh, no, I guess I have to say something symbolic. I mean, I guess he's just better. I mean, he doesn't even have any powers, and he still kicks
He's
ass.
Batman.
Yeah, he's Batman. I'm Batman. That's my answer. That's why.
Okay, makes
And
sense.
yeah, for real. Another question. It's not really like a personal question, but I just want to know. Do you plan to have any guests on here?
Depends on who the guest is. I mean, most guests you get on these things know way more about the characters and help the podcast people, you know.
Yeah. And do you, well, here, if you had to be one superhero, who would you be?
Like, do you mean like get powers or be the hero?
Oh, get their powers. Well, I mean,
Powers.
inherit what they have, like not the people in their lives, but what they have. Because I don't want to say get powers, and then if you choose Batman, you just get nothing. Because that'd be kind of, you know what I mean?
So
You
like,
get what's special about them.
I guess it's like I've always wanted super speed because it's basically limitless impossibility. I mean, you could just get anywhere in a second, and then they make it more and more powerful, and they have to add to make the stories. They have to add stuff like random weaknesses, like how the Flash was weakness was cold, like the cold, because he would produce so much heat. That's why Captain Cold exists, and then make other speedsters that are faster than him.
Yeah,
So I
like
I guess I would.
like when you have to make a show interesting in the first three seasons, it's all speedsters, and then
Yeah.
and then the show kind of falls, kind of peaks and kind of dies.
Hmm. Well, I wish they did more with the roads in that show. Um,
Yeah, they kind of did
and
it in the
actually,
last season.
and they only had one good rogue,
Captain Boomerang.
which was yeah, Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, his outfit was good. I mean, they kind of did
Yeah,
it in the first season too, and
or it was more an arrow.
well, yeah. Um, do you have any future plans for this? Uh, growth wise.
Um, the podcast.
Yeah,
Um, uh, I don't know. Uh, I mean, you just make the episodes and continue on to infinity and beyond. I guess. I mean, I guess. I guess we could get some cool guests if a lot of listeners, join in. So, what are your plans?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, just kind of want to keep going with our episodes. Obviously, the this first episode we had to kind of be scarce with our time, and that we didn't really get to focus on like one fixated point. As I was trying to introduce you and myself, and we were trying to talk about the history. But in the future episodes, we'll be able to get around to things faster and talk about more things.
Yeah. So, hmm. I also guess we can talk about certain characters as an overall, and then do some episodes where we talk about a certain person. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, like the late great Stan Lee.
And the man. We also do Jazzy John Ramita, who recently passed away.
Yeah,
So one of my favorite Spider-Man artists. He's up there.
before we close out here, I need you to make a superhero joke.
Uh, on the spot, I am. Get it, spot. I made that one up by accident.
The spot from Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
How about you make one?
Oh shoot. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. You're kind of. Well, let me think.
You gotta really beat the bow here.
Oh wow, thanks, the thinker.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta think. If I okay.
I guess I'm more witty than
Oh
you.
wait, I got this. I got this. Who's Batman's favorite family member?
Alfred.
His nana nana. Yeah, yeah. You get it. His nana 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 nana.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. That was really funny.
Thank you.
Um,
All right. Well, I think pretty much closes out everything we needed to say today.
yep.
If you enjoyed your time here, stay tuned for another episode soon, probably next week. Um, hope you learned something,
Mm.
and hope you had a good time. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.